So would you call this architecture Art Deco or Gothic or what?
I ask as the building's assistant manager looks my paperwork over.
I can't really tell. It's something,
she says, her eyes locked onto the papers.
Is there a problem?
I ask, suddenly very concerned that the good thing that fell into my lap isn't going to materialize.
My credit score should... We don't care about credit scores.
She interrupts and waves a hand at me.
Be quiet. Right.
I reply and look behind me at the chair sitting in front of her desk. I go to sit down, but she says,
no.
Like I'm a puppy about to chew on one of her slippers. So I stay standing. She reads and reads and reads, then nods and looks up at me.
This all looks good,
she says.
And you can work every day? You mean like every day? No weekends off?
I ask, a little confused. She only blinks at me.
The advertisement didn't say anything about a 7-day work week.
She keeps blinking at me.
Yeah, sure. I can work every day. Great,
she says and lines up my paperwork.
Now I just need to see your identification. Oh, I don't drive. I didn't ask if you drive,
she says and opens a drawer in her desk, pulling out an ebony box. She places it on her desk and slides it across to me.
Place your right hand inside the box, please. What for?
I ask, not liking the look of the pitch-black box.
For identification,
she says and sighs.
The charter of the building prohibits the employment of non-human workers. This is a completely human-owned, operated, and occupied building, and that is what our tenants expect. Only humans? Why does that matter?
I ask, my eyes still on the box.
You ever woken up to the smell of a hobgoblin making queso dip at 3 a.m?
She asks. I shake my head.
Then count yourself lucky. Plus, most humans are easy to kill, so if they get out of line, then we don't have to call in the authorities or an exterminator.
She shrugs.
You never know what danger lurks in the shadows here in the city, so we like to control the environment and any contingencies as much as possible. Oh, okay,
I say and take a deep breath. Then I let it out and slowly stick out my hand.
I just put it in there? Yes,
she says and taps the top of the box. A panel on the end slides open.
In you go.
I take another deep breath, then shove my hand through the opening. My skin goes ice cold, then lava hot, then just numb.
That'll do,
she says and taps the box again.
Take your hand out.
I do, and to my surprise, although I shouldn't be too surprised, considering how the city is, the box sprouts legs and arms and crawls over to the assistant manager. She leans down and cocks her head like she's listening to something the box is telling her, even though I can't hear a thing.
Ah, good to know,
she says, then straightens up, placing the box back into the desk drawer.
All human.
She holds out her hand.
You are hired, Mr. Pritchard. Welcome to the team and welcome to the Third Arms. Thank you, Miss Moscato,
I say and shake her hand vigorously.
Yeah, you thank me now,
she says and smirks.
I'll give you a day to get settled into your new apartment. But as per the terms of your residency, you do not pay rent or utilities as long as you work every day. Miss a day, and your stipend will be docked by 10%. Miss 2 days, and your stipend will be docked 50%. Shouldn't it be 20%?
I ask, fairly confident in my math.
Did I say 20%? No. What did I say? 50%. Then how much will you be docked if you miss 2 days? 50%? Good boy, she says and stands up. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have to go do my rounds. Rounds? Yes, rounds. Where I walk the building and make sure everything is running according to the building's charter. Without the charter, the Third Arms would devolve into chaos.
She looks toward the window in her office and at the gloomy evening outside.
And we all know the only way to survive the city is to keep the chaos at bay.
I'm not sure I know that, but I don't argue with her. She smiles at me, and I smile at her.
This means you have to leave, Mr. Pritchard,
she says, and gestures to her office door.
Call me Tony, please,
I say and hurry to the door.
I will not be doing that, Mr. Pritchard,
she says and sees me out.
Now, like I said, you have a day to get settled. Tomorrow morning at 6 a.m., you will report to the front desk for your first day of work. Of course,
I say and give her a huge grin.
Thank you again, Miss Moscato. I really appreciate the op.
But she's gone. She doesn't let me finish my sentence. She doesn't say goodbye. She doesn't really acknowledge that I exist. She just walks away.
How do I get my apartment key?
I call after her. She points at the front desk.
Thank you.
I wander over to the front desk and to the middle-aged woman standing behind it.
Hello, Mr. Pritchard.
She says and gives me the warmest smile I've ever seen.
I'm Miss Grace. Are you ready to get settled into the Third Arms? Call me Tony.
I say and stick my hand out over the front desk. Her smile goes from warm to polite, and her eyes flit to my hand, then back to my face.
Are you ready to get settled into the Third Arms, Mr. Pritchard?
I take the hand back and let it awkwardly drop to my side.
Yeah, sure. I'm ready.
I say and nod.
Miss Grace, was it? Yes,
She says and leans down behind the desk. When she stands back up, she has a large iron box in her hands. With a loud thud that echoes throughout the lobby, she lets the box drop onto the desk. She undoes the top 2 buttons of her blouse and reaches inside. I blush and turn away. I hear a rattle and clang and steal a quick glance at the box. Miss Grace has a large key in her hand, and she is methodically turning it counterclockwise in the iron box's lock, over and over and over. It's almost mesmerizing. There's a very faint click, and the box pops open. Miss Grace places the key back inside her blouse and redoes the 2 buttons. She nods at me and then nods at the open iron box.
What?
I ask, feeling very out of sorts.
The key to your residence is inside the box,
She says.
All you have to do is reach in and take it. You people really like your boxes here at the Third Arms, don't you?
I say and laugh. The warm smile left at my last faux pas, and now I watch the polite smile leave too.
You are now part of us people, Mr. Pritchard.
Miss Grace says, and nods at the box again.
Your residence awaits. All you have to do is reach inside the box and take your key. Sure,
I say and reach inside the box. The pain is almost more than I can handle. I yank my hand back out and stare at it, looking for burn marks or cuts or some trauma. But it's only normal, unmarred flesh, just my hand, unwounded. And in my hand is a room key, a normal key to a normal door, attached to a metal fob with my room number on it.
750.
I say. I turn the key over and inspect it, then look at Miss Grace.
Are there really 50 rooms per floor? Sometimes more, sometimes less.
She says and shrugs. Then the polite smile returns.
750 is a wonderful residence. You will enjoy your time here. That's good to know.
I say and put the key in my pocket.
Why is it so wonderful? I wouldn't know,
She says.
I have never been in room 750. Perhaps you will invite me over one evening after your shift. Yeah, of course.
I say.
What time does your shift end? The same as yours, Mr. Pritchard. Sundown. Do you only work weekdays? I work every day, Mr. Pritchard. The same as you. Oh, wow. That's surprising.
She cocks her head and drops her brow.
Oh? And why is that? I just assumed that my job was entry level, so that's why I work every day. I didn't think it was the same for the front desk. What job here does get a day off? We all work every day, Mr. Pritchard. All of us? Everyone? All of us. Everyone. What about the manager? I haven't seen him. No one has seen management.
I wait for her to say more, but she doesn't, so I smile and nod and pat the pocket with my room key in it.
Well, I'm going to go get settled in. A wonderful idea, Mr. Pritchard. Maybe you want to come by this evening when you get off. I can run to the store and get some wine or beer or whatever you like. Not tonight, Mr. Pritchard, but one evening, yes. You should get used to working here at the Third Arms beforehand. It'll make conversation better. Right, yeah, sure. Good thinking.
I kinda do a half bow, then shuffle backward away from the front desk.
It was, good to meet you, Miss Grace. And you as well, Mr. Pritchard.
I turn and almost slam nose first into the closed elevator door. My face goes beet red, and I'm glad I'm turned away from Miss Grace. I stab at the elevator call button over and over.
It only takes one press,
Miss Grace calls from across the lobby. I stop stabbing the button. The elevator door opens, and the oldest man I've ever seen in my life stands there dressed in a full elevator operator's uniform, including the cliched round hat with the chin strap.
Mr. Pritchard.
The old man greets me in a surprisingly strong, clear voice.
I am Mr. Ansel. Oh, hey.
I say and hold out my hand. He doesn't take it, and once again, I let it drop to my side.
Please.
Mr. Ansel says and gestures for me to step inside the car.
Room 750, is it? Yeah. How did you know?
He only smiles at me as I step into the elevator car. I watch him slide the door closed and then press the button for the 7th floor, all in one smooth, fluid motion.
Miss Grace seems nice,
I say as the elevator begins to rise.
She can be,
Mr. Ansel replies.
You two may get along famously. Maybe not. Okay,
I reply, confused by his statement. We ride and ride. The gauge above the door shows a huge hand, like a clock, moving slowly from lobby to 1 to 2, and so on.
Not the speediest elevator,
I say and laugh.
Oh, it can move when it needs to. Cool.
I say and shuffle my feet. Then I clear my throat and ask,
So are you retiring? Is that why they hired me? Retiring?
He replies with a laugh and shakes his head. The round hat stays perfectly in place.
No, Mr. Pritchard. I am moving to the night shift. I will be working every night while you work every day. You're taking over nights? But isn't that kind of backward? Shouldn't a rookie like me take nights? You cannot handle the nights. Oh, if you say so. The Third Arms says so, Mr. Pritchard. Cool.
The hand has moved from 4 to 5.
So you've been working here how long? Every day for a very long time. Like how long? Time moves differently here in the Third Arms, Mr. Pritchard,
he says, and fixes me with a hard stare.
You would be wise to learn that sooner rather than later.
So many questions pop into my head, but before I can utter a single one, the elevator bell dings and Mr. Ansel says,
7th floor. It has been a pleasure, Mr. Pritchard. Oh, we're here,
I say and watch as Mr. Ansel slides the door open and gestures for me to leave.
That was sudden. It always is, Mr. Pritchard.
I nod at the old man and step off the elevator. As I turn to leave, he grabs me by the upper arm and yanks me close, his mouth almost touching my ear.
When you see the button, do not press it,
he says.
That floor is not for you. It is not for any of us. Ignore the button when it appears. You cannot handle the lies. They will devour you.
Then he lets go of me and slides the door closed without another word, leaving me standing there in the hallway, my mouth hanging open and a million more questions in my head. After a few seconds, I pull the key out of my pocket and look one way then the other, trying to figure out which way my room is. I pick a direction and walk, but quickly realize I'm going the wrong way. So I spin back around and freeze.
Hello,
a man says to me only inches away.
Lost, are we?
He has to be older than Mr. Ansel by a couple decades or more, considering the state of his withered features and scrawny frame. But there's a light in his eyes that's puzzling.
Just turned around,
I say and jingle my key.
750. How lovely,
he says and turns on his heels in a crisp, military fashion.
I am across the hall in 748. Follow me, if you will, Mr. Pritchard,
I say, and then hustle to keep up with the man as he takes impossibly long strides down the hallway.
Tony Pritchard. Mr. Pritchard,
the man says.
I am Mr. Bernard. A pleasure to make your acquaintance. Same,
I say and nearly trip over my own feet as I struggle not to be left behind. We zoom past the doors to other rooms, and I'm barely able to glance at their numbers.
Here we are,
Mr. Bernard says, bowing slightly at a door that has 750 in large, ornate lettering on the center.
Your new home. Thanks. You are most welcome, Mr. Pritchard,
he replies, and before I can say anything else, he strides off, already halfway down the hallway before I can blink twice. Suddenly alone in a strange place, I feel a sense of dread creep up from my belly. Not fear so much as just a foreboding.
Would have been nice to feel that earlier,
I mutter as I place the key in the lock and give it a twist. There's a loud, satisfying click. I turn the doorknob and push the door wide open, staying out in the hallway as I stare at a dark entranceway that seems to stretch on forever into an unknown nothingness. Then I reach in and flip up the single light switch, and the entranceway turns out to be about 6 feet long and opens up into a nice living room with a kitchen at the far end, close to the outside wall.
Home sweet home,
I say and step inside. The door swings closed behind me without me touching it, making me jump and spin around. I gulp and take a step back as I read the words carved into the inside of the door.
A button pressed is a call into the darkness. What the shit?
I say and shake my head. The words are gone, leaving only unmarred wood.
This city,
I say and take a deep breath. Reluctantly, I turn my back on the door and move deeper into my new home. It's already furnished, which is good, because I don't have any furniture of my own. My former apartment building was burned to the ground during a literal firefight between the police and a gang of kobolds. 26 people died that night. I was busy getting drunk at the corner tavern after being laid off from my job as a delivery driver for Porter's Antiques and Antiquities. No one would ever tell me the difference between an antique and an antiquity, but whatever the difference may be, they deliver the same, which is to say by a rundown truck that has shitty brakes. Brakes that gave out just as I tried to stop at a red light. I T-boned a hearse, and that was that. Fired on the spot. Literally, Jonas Porter, the owner's son, drove down to the accident and handed me my walking papers. I handed him the keys to the truck and limped the 15 blocks to the corner tavern, then sat down and started drinking. The furniture in my new home is a strange mix of styles, kinda like the Third Arms. Some Victorian, some modern, some rustic. I set my key down on the kitchen counter and look out of the window over the sink. The view is of the city, of course, but it's a view I've never seen in my life. Instead of looking out at a garbage-filled alley or a broken cobblestone street filled with muck and crap, I'm staring at a long view that overlooks the grove. The trees sway in a wind I can't detect, and I swear I see shapes moving in the shadows. But that's the grove for you, a place of nature that is unnatural as the city itself. Not somewhere you want to find yourself after dark, or in the middle of the afternoon for that matter. A knock at my door tears me away from the view.
Coming!
I call out and hurry to the door. When I open it, no one is there, but a beautifully designed box sits on the hallway floor, a note attached to the top.
Your uniform,
the note says, and is signed,
Management.
I bring the box into my room and set it on the metal and glass coffee table. Then I plop down on the couch that is all overstuffed, worn leather. Lifting the lid off the box, I stare at my new uniform. It is exactly like the one Mr. Ansel was wearing, hat included. I pick it up and turn it in my hands, as if it'll tell me the secret to my new job. It doesn't. I set the hat aside and take the uniform out. First the jacket, then the white shirt, then the trousers. Under it all is a pair of shiny black shoes, no socks. That makes me realize that I never brought what little luggage I have left up to my room. But when I take the uniform and its box into the bedroom, I see my single suitcase laid out on a bench by the bedroom window. It's open, so it shows the meager items I have to my name. Another pair of jeans, 3 black t-shirts, a few pairs of socks, and some boxers. That's all that's left of Tony Pritchard, some hastily bought clothes, and a fourth-hand suitcase. I hang the uniform in the closet and put the rest of my clothes in the chest of drawers opposite my bed. It's a king bed, which is a luxury. I'll probably get agoraphobic sleeping in it the first night. There's so much space. My stomach rumbles and I head to the kitchen, hoping to find something in the fridge. But no luck, it's empty. I remember seeing a corner market down the street, so I check my wallet to make sure I do have some cash, which I do, and head out of my new apartment and down the hallway to the elevator. The elevator door opens almost as soon as I press the call button.
Hungry?
Mr. Ansel asks as I step into the car.
Yes.
I say, frowning. He laughs and rolls his eyes.
The Third Arms provides a lot to its employees, but free meals is not one of the perks,
he says and closes the door. The ride down is done before I know it, unlike the ride up. I thank Mr. Ansel, give a wave to Miss Grace, then head out onto the street and into the bustling noises of the city. A 38 Packard speeds by and splashes gutter water up into the air. I barely dodge it as I hurry down the sidewalk to the corner market. A 56 Ford slows down and a gang of haints all stare at me.
You look lost.
One of the haints calls from the passenger window.
Hop in. We'll get you to where you need. No thanks. Just going to the market. Market's closed,
the haint says. His semi-corporeal skin is mottled green and blue, and one of his eyes is completely bloodshot. When he grins at me, I see row after row after row of very sharp teeth. The Ford comes to a stop, and the haint's grin widens.
You should get in,
he says as the car doors open, and the gang all step out onto the sidewalk. In seconds, I'm surrounded by less than friendly-looking haints. All I wanted was to get some cans of soup for dinner and some cereal for breakfast. Maybe pick up a deli sandwich if they don't look too old. But instead, I'm facing 6 haints, and none of them look like they led healthy, happy lives before they expired. But that's the difference between haints and regular ghosts. Haints are mean. They see their deaths as offensive, and they want to take that offense out on anyone and everyone they come across. Why a gang of haints is this far uptown in the city, I don't know, but they are. Now I'm dealing with them.
How about you spill a little blood for some poor haints?
The grinning haint says, the one from the passenger seat.
I bet you got plenty of blood to spare. Plenty of blood,
the others murmur.
Yeah, I'm anemic,
I say and smile at my little joke. I can tell by the looks on their faces that they don't know what the word anemic means.
Davy? Davy Bryant?
The voice calls out.
Is that you?
The lead haint whips his head around and sighs.
Fuck, Payton. What do you want? What do I want?
A man says as he walks up to us.
Can a guy say hello to an old friend? We ain't friends, Payton.
The haint, Davy Bryant apparently, says.
Ah, man, come on, don't be that way.
The man says when he reaches us. He holds out his hand to me.
Name's Payton. I shot this son of a bitch about 6 years ago and he's never forgiven me. You killed me, Payton,
Davy snarls.
Kinda hard to forgive. I know.
I look him up and down. Nice suit, overcoat that cost as much as the haint's Ford, shoes just as expensive. The fedora on his head, though, is older and well-worn. I shake Payton's hand, and the haint's all grown.
What's this guy to you, Payton?
Davy asks.
Look at the kid. He's a nothing. How about you forget that little protection shake you just did and let us take him? I can't do that, Davy,
Payton says, and opens his overcoat to show the haints a very large pistol strapped under his left arm.
Aren't you boys a little outside your usual stomping grounds?
Davy eyes the pistol, then growls low and hops back into the Ford. The other haints glare at Payton, then follow.
The lines in the city are blurring, Payton, so watch yourself,
Davy says as the Ford's engine roars to life.
See you later. I hope so,
Payton says, and closes his overcoat as the Ford races off, its back tires squealing on the wet pavement, the rear end swirling back and forth before the driver straightens out and speeds down the street, ignoring the red light at the intersection.
No T-boning a hearse for them,
I mumble.
What's that? Nothing,
I say and smile at him.
Thanks. That was nice of you to help me out. Nice?
He replies and laughs.
Sure, kid. It was nice of me. I'm 29,
I say.
So you can stop the kid shit. Sorry,
Payton says and holds his hands up in mock surrender.
No offense meant.
He claps me on the shoulder.
How about I buy you dinner? You look hungry and I know an amazing Chinese joint around the corner. Best Szechuan beef in the city. Thanks. But I was just gonna grab some soup from the market,
I say and look at the corner, and at the dark windows that had been full of light just a few minutes ago.
Crap. They keep strange hours,
Payton says and shrugs.
So, how about it? Will you let me buy you dinner? Consider it a housewarming gift. Housewarming?
I ask, wary.
I'm 1015,
He says and points down the street.
the Third Arms. I live there. Makes us neighbors. I work there.
I say.
So I'm not sure if that makes us neighbors so much as that means I get to serve you. I don't know what the Third Arms policy is on employees and residents socializing, so it's probably best if... Stop whining and shut the fuck up, kid.
Payton snaps.
When someone saves your ass from a gang of haints, then offers to buy you dinner, just say yes. That doesn't seem like a sound policy. Jesus Christ.
Payton mutters and rubs his face. Something howls from the grove and he whips around.
Fuck off, Lewis.
When he turns back to me, he rolls his eyes.
That's Lewis,
He says.
You'll get used to him. He's a reverse werewolf. A reverse werewolf? He only becomes human during the full moon.
Payton says and shrugs.
Best to avoid going into the grove if you can. I've never been in there and don't plan on it.
I say and turn to walk back to the Third Arms.
I need a favor.
Payton says, and the words hang there in the air.
I could really use your help.
I stop and turn. His face is all scrunched up in a sorta apologetic and semi-hopeful way.
What kind of favor? The kind that is talked about over plates of Szechuan beef and barbecue pork.
He says and smiles, then gestures toward the corner.
It's a block at the most.
My stomach growls, and Payton's smile beams.
Fine,
I say and walk past him.
but dinner doesn't mean I'm doing you any favors. I haven't told you what the favor is yet, so you'd be pretty stupid to say yes already.
Payton says and claps me on the shoulder again as he walks with me to the corner.
At the very least, you'll get a free meal and I get to show someone one of my favorite restaurants in the city. We're both already ahead of the game, if you say so.
The restaurant is a little more than a block away, more like 6, but it's not a bad walk. And when we get inside and the smells hit me, I realize I'd walk 100 blocks to eat whatever they are serving.
Told you.
Payton says and takes off his overcoat. He hands it to the hostess, and without a word, we are shown to a table in the back corner.
Thank you.
The hostess nods and winds her way through the tables and back to her place up front.
Payton.
A waitress says when she comes to our table.
The usual? You know it, Joni.
Payton says.
And make it a double portion. Plus a plate of barbecue pork, some chicken in black bean sauce, 2 orders of spring rolls, some crab rangoon, and how's the duck look this evening? Dead. Perfect. Just the way I like it.
Payton says and claps his hands together, then looks at me.
What do you want, kid? I thought that was for both of us.
I say, stunned.
He's fucking with you.
Joni says.
I'll put the order in right now. Drinks? Whiskey neat.
Payton says.
Kid? It's Tony.
I say.
Tony Pritchard. What do you want to drink, Tony Pritchard?
Joni asks.
Can I just get a beer? A golden lager or something like that? Whiskey neat and a golden lager coming right up.
Joni says, then turns and walks off.
The food is amazing, like I said,
Payton says.
but it ain't cheap. I'd tell you to try the lunch specials, but you'll be working during lunch and they don't deliver. They don't even use delivery wraiths. Oh, okay.
I say, then blink.
Wait, how do you know I'll be working during the day? You're the new elevator operator, right?
He responds.
Which means you're working every day from now until, well...
He trails off and shrugs.
I was just hired today.
I say.
I haven't even started yet. How did you find out so fast? First, it wasn't that fast.
He says.
Second, I'm a private investigator. Knowing shit is what I do for a living. You're a PI? You sound surprised.
He says and laughs.
You probably think all PIs in the city are down on their luck losers wearing 10-year-old suits and scuffed shoes.
He shrugs.
Well, you ain't wrong. Most of everyone in my profession are a bunch of sad sacks who chase down leads while debt collectors are right on their heels. Things in the city tend to go wrong quickly, so getting paid in my line of work doesn't always happen in a timely manner. You look like you're doing all right.
I say and glance at his very nice suit.
And you're living in the Third Arms, which I'd never be able to afford in my wildest dreams if I hadn't gotten the operator job. I came into some good luck a bit back.
Payton replies and smooths out his suit coat.
It was hard-fought luck, but good in the end. Must be nice. Kid, nothing in this city is nice.
He leans across the table and looks me square in the face.
Especially at the Third Arms. What does that mean? It means, while you may not have signed away your soul to the devil himself, you definitely shook hands with someone who doesn't have your best interests at heart. So what? Miss Moscato is a demon? I thought only humans can live and work at the Third Arms. Well, you're being naive to take anything that woman says at face value. But she didn't lie. Only humans can work and live at the Third Arms. And Miss Moscato is human, all right. She's just a shitty one. Are you saying I should quit? What? No. Where'd you get that idea? Sounds like you're warning me off of the job. Warning you off? Kid, you already took it. Ain't no backing out now.
He sighs, then pauses as Joni arrives with our drinks.
Thanks. Whiskey neat, golden lager,
She says.
Anything else? You need anything, kid?
Payton asks me.
I need you to stop calling me kid.
I say, which makes Joni snort.
I'll leave you two alone,
She says with a smirk.
Food will be out shortly. Thanks, Joni.
Payton says and watches her walk away.
Where was I? I have no idea.
I say and sip my beer. He snaps his fingers.
Loopholes. That's where I was. You didn't say anything about loopholes. I was getting to it.
He says and leans forward again.
Has anyone mentioned a forbidden button to you? I don't know if I should be talking about work with you.
I say and sip my beer again.
What are you worried about? Getting fired? Yeah, I just got fired from my old job, and my apartment building burned down, so I kinda need to stay employed and housed right now. Kid, they aren't gonna fire you,
He says, then sees me bristle at being called a kid again.
Sorry, Tony. They aren't gonna fire you, Tony. That handshake works both ways. It's why they test you first. That was a test to be human,
I say.
Amongst other things, yeah.
The spring rolls arrive.
Thanks, Joni.
Payton says.
Fuck off, Payton.
Joni replies, walking away the second she sets the plates of rolls down.
What'd you do to her?
I ask.
I have a way with people.
He says, and takes a bite of spring roll, then winces.
Hot, hot, hot.
I hear Joni laugh from somewhere in the restaurant.
Damn.
Payton says and grabs my beer. He swigs half of it, then sighs and smacks his lips.
That cools things down.
He breathes through his mouth and takes another bite. He gestures at the spring rolls.
Eat,
He says.
Sure.
I respond and pick up a spring roll. I take a small bite and let the steam clear before taking another bite.
Not bad.
Payton nods, then says,
So, the loophole. They have told you about the button, right?
I think back to Mr. Ansell's warning and the words on the back of my door. I nod.
Good.
He says and finishes off his spring roll.
Well, this brings us to the favor. You haven't explained the loophole. I'm getting to it. It's part of the favor.
He picks up another spring roll, then sets it down.
Okay, all cards on the table. When that button shows up, I need you to press it. That's the opposite of what I've been told. I know it is. But you see, Tony, the loophole of the Third Arms Charter is that the button you're gonna push will take us to a floor in the building that doesn't exist. And if it doesn't exist, then the whole only humans thing doesn't apply. Us? You said take us to a floor that doesn't exist. Yeah, well, you're the operator, so you have to push the button. I'll be there because I need to get onto that floor. That's the favor? You need me to push the forbidden button when it shows up? I need you to ring me when it shows up. I'll meet you in the elevator, and that's when you push the button.
He must see the worry on my face because he waves a hand at me.
You don't even have to leave the elevator when we reach the floor. All I need is for you to keep that door open, so I can do what I need to do and get back onto the elevator all safe and sound. Why? What? Why do you need to do what you need to do? 'Cause I'm paying off a debt I incurred a long ways back. You don't have the money to pay it? This ain't a pay with money type of debt, if you get what I mean.
I don't really, but I nod like I do. Yeah, the city is weird, and things aren't exactly normal like they should be. A reverse werewolf in the Grove is a perfect example. But most people like me just keep our heads down when we see strange or terrifying things. We just try to live our lives and make the best of what we can in the city. Our food arrives and Joni sets the platters in the center of the table, then stands back and puts her hands on her hips.
Another beer?
She asks me.
Sure.
I say and down what's left and hand her the glass.
Thank you. No problem.
She says and looks at Payton.
Another whiskey?
Make it a double and we'll need some to-go containers too.
I figured.
She responds, then leaves.
Don't give me an answer yet. Let's eat first.
Payton says.
You can let me know your thoughts after we chow down on this fine food.
I watch him as he picks up a pair of chopsticks and starts dishing himself up from each platter until the plate in front of him is piled high with food. I do the same, although I don't pile quite so high. Another few bites, I look at Payton and lift my eyebrows.
I know, right?
He says around a mouthful of barbecue pork.
Good stuff.
He isn't wrong. I eat and eat and eat until I think I'm going to throw up or explode or both. I barely touch my beer, except to take sips to cool my mouth down from the Szechuan beef. Joni comes by and hands Payton the check and me the to-go containers.
The rest is yours.
Payton says as he pulls a wad of cash from his pocket and slaps down way more than the bill. Joni is getting a very nice tip.
Thanks,
I say, and fill the containers with the leftovers. Payton doesn't say anything about the elevator button as he gets up and nods for me to follow. He grabs his overcoat on the way out and we leave the restaurant. More like I waddle out of the restaurant, I'm so full. We're halfway back to the Third Arms when Payton asks,
So, did I get you food drunk enough to say yes to my favor?
You keep saying it's a favor,
I reply.
What do I get out of it?
A favor in return.
He says and laughs.
That's how favors work.
Any favor?
Normally, I'd say within reason. But considering what I'm asking of you, yeah, any favor. As long as it's something I can do. Don't ask me to turn lead into gold or any crap like that. You can find your own alchemist for that. There's a couple of them down on Broker's Row, but I wouldn't advise getting involved with that lot. Alchemists are the lowest of the low, like junkies and bankers in the same body.
Again, I nod like I understand when I really don't.
Okay,
I say.
Okay,
He says and stops walking.
you'll do it?
I'll do it,
I say and hold up a finger.
on one condition.
Yeah? What's that?
If things go wrong and I lose my job and apartment over this, you set me up with a new job and new apartment.
I shake my head.
No, with a better job and better apartment.
Is that the favor you're cashing in?
No, not even close. That's a condition to me doing a favor. You'll still owe me a favor after it's all done.
He starts walking again and I join him. We're at the Third Arms entrance when he nods.
Deal, kid.
He says, then winces.
Sorry, Tony. It's a deal, Tony.
He holds out his hand. I stare at it, then I shake it. I hear a low creaking and look up. A gargoyle on the north corner of the building is staring right at me. Payton follows my gaze and frowns.
Grotesques are such nosy bitches.
He says and flips the gargoyle off.
Grotesque?
I ask, as the gargoyle sneers, then turns its head and looks in the opposite direction.
Gargoyles are rain spouts.
Payton replies.
That up there? The statue? That's a grotesque. You really don't know much about the city, do you?
I shrug.
Well, that's okay. Everyone gets gargoyles and grotesques mixed up. And I suppose you don't need to know much about the city unless you're in my line of work.
Or being asked to do favors for people in your line of work.
Good point.
He says and looks at the entrance.
Well, I'll let you head on up.
You aren't coming in? I thought you said you lived here.
I say, suddenly suspicious.
Oh, I do live here.
He says and laughs.
But I have to go see a minotaur about some blood first. Plus a few other random errands need tending to. It'll be a late night for me.
Okay, so I just ring you when I see the button?
I say and cock my head.
How do I do that?
The elevator has a phone.
He says.
Pick it up, ask for 1015 and they'll connect you to my room.
Who is they?
Those who run the phones in this damned city. You know how the phone service is around here. It's more magic than anything.
A howl erupts from the edge of the grove.
Shut up, Lewis!
Payton shouts, then once more claps me on the shoulder.
See you around, Tony. Hopefully sooner than later.
Then he's gone, walking down the street at a brisk pace before he turns into an alley and is lost from sight. Standing there, taking in the evening's events, I look across the street at the edge of the grove and see two huge yellow eyes staring back at me from a large holly bush. I wave, and the eyes blink, then disappear. When I go inside, Miss Grace isn't working the front desk. Instead, a slightly older gentleman is behind it, talking to a plump woman. He looks up, frowns, then nods, smiles, and beckons me over.
And the smell coming out of my kitchen drain must be dealt with immediately as well.
The plump woman is saying when I get to the front desk.
I will have maintenance come and take a look first thing in the morning,
The gentleman says. Then his eyes shift to me.
Ah, Mr. Pritchard. I am glad we got to meet before you start tomorrow. I'm Mr. Sandelin, the night clerk. I also work the days as the concierge, so if you need anything, please let me know. You work days and nights? Sleep is for those who have nothing better to do,
He says and chuckles. It sounds like small rocks clattering against each other in the ocean surf, which is a strange thought to have, since I've never seen the ocean in person.
You are the new elevator operator,
The plump woman states.
I expect prompt service, young man.
Yes, ma'am.
I say and smile. She returns the smile, but it looks more like a pained grimace.
Good night, Mr. Sandelin.
She says, then turns and walks out of the lobby, moving much faster than her plumpness would have led me to believe she could.
Good night, Widow Sherman,
Mr. Sandelin calls after her. Then he fixes me with a serious gaze.
Never accept a dinner reservation from that woman. Her last 6 husbands met their end with some bad fish. 6?
I ask, shocked.
That we know of, yes.
He says, then reaches under the desk and pulls out a large manila envelope.
Copies of your contract. Miss Moscato told me to give them to you so that everything is official.
He leans across the desk as I take the envelope.
Personally, I wouldn't read any of it. You're already employed, so why worry yourself with unsettling details?
He leans back, then looks at the entrance.
Oh, Mr. Habib, welcome home. How was the beach?
I don't bother to wait around to be introduced to whoever Mr. Habib is. I hurry to the elevator and step on board, the envelope clutched in my hands. The elevator is moving before I realize I'm riding with Mr. Ansel.
Didn't your shift end earlier? And my new shift started immediately,
He says.
I'm nights now, remember? Right.
I say, and then wait out the impossibly long ride to my floor. I wave goodnight to Mr. Ansel, then hurry to my apartment, ready to get some sleep. That's when I realize I forgot my leftovers at the restaurant. Damn, I was looking forward to those in the morning. A morning that comes way too early, especially since I mostly tossed and turned all night, as the Szechuan beef reminded me why I don't usually eat spicy foods. Maybe it was a good thing I forgot my leftovers, I think as I shower and get dressed. The uniform is snug, a little more snug than I'm comfortable with, but I deal with it, check myself several times in the mirror, then head to the elevator. Before I press the call button, the door slides open and Mr. Ansel is standing there, a big smile on his face, but it doesn't reach his eyes. He looks like he's happy to see me, but he also looks like he's trying to hide some sort of deep pain.
Good morning,
I say and step into the car.
Good morning.
Mr. Ansel replies, his voice hoarse and dry.
Are you all right this morning, Mr. Ansel?
Of course.
He replies and then slides the door closed.
To the lobby.
When we reach the lobby, Mr. Sandelin is gathering his things as Miss Grace steps behind the front desk and looks up at me as I approach.
Good morning, Mr. Pritchard,
She says.
Ready for your first day?
As ready as I will ever be.
I say and laugh. No one laughs with me.
Well, so you understand the procedure.
She says and bends low behind the desk so that I lose sight of her. Then she appears with a black box in her hands.
I will walk you through it.
I stare at the black box.
Is that the same thing that checked to see if I was human? No.
She states. Mr. Sandelin snorts, then leaves without saying goodbye. I watch him go.
Mr. Pritchard,
Miss Grace says, her voice sharp.
your hand, please.
I turn back to her and see she has placed the box on top of the desk, and there's an opening in front.
That is the same box. No,
She states.
your hand, Mr. Pritchard.
I hesitate. A prickling at the back of my neck makes me look over my shoulder, and I see Mr. Ansel standing in the way of the elevator doors, preventing them from closing. His eyes are locked onto mine.
I don't know.
I say, returning my attention to the box.
Can't I just use a punch card to clock in? No.
Miss Grace replies. When I don't offer my hand, she adds,
If you prefer not to be employed by the Third Arms, Mr. Pritchard, then we can sever your contract and place your possessions out on the curb for you to do with as you wish. Maybe you will find a better job with better accommodations than the Third Arms. If that is your desire, then management wishes you good luck.
The thought of hunting for another job, let alone another place to live, makes me sick to my stomach. The city isn't kind right now to those in transition. It's surly and mean and shows no mercy to people like me. People on the fringes of it all. The insignificant losers who,
Mr. Pritchard,
Miss Grace says, pulling me from my thoughts.
a choice must be made, and it must be made now.
I make the choice. When I remove my hand, the box doesn't sprout legs or arms or any appendages. It simply beeps, and the little door in front closes. Miss Grace nods, smiles at me, then places the box under the desk.
Good,
She says.
Your shift begins immediately. Please go relieve Mr. Ansel if you would be so kind.
Yesterday I thought there was a connection between me and Miss Grace. Yes, she's a lot older than me, but she is a very handsome woman. I don't know what I thought would happen, but I didn't have cold, corporate attitude on my bingo card for her. I make my way to the elevator and step into the car. Mr. Ansel sighs and steps back so the doors can close.
It's not like the old days.
He says as he presses the 5th floor button.
Back then, they had to manually control the car and stop it at just the right moment.
He frowns at the bank of floor buttons.
Now we get to just press a button and stand here and smile at the residents, making sure they know that we know how important they are to the Third Arms.
I look at the bank of buttons, 20 of them. Well, technically 19. The buttons go from 1 to 20, except they skip 13.
No 13th floor.
I say. A lot of buildings skip that number even though there is a 13th floor. They just call it 14. Looks like the Third Arms does the same. Mr. Ansel doesn't respond.
So what do I do about breaks or lunch or if I have to pee? You don't.
He says, and the elevator slows as it goes from the 4th to the 5th floor.
You remain in this elevator until your shift ends and your relief arrives. Oh, good thing I peed before I clocked in.
I say and laugh. There's silence from Mr. Ansel. The car stops and Mr. Ansel waits, and waits, and waits.
You are supposed to open the door for me,
He says.
Residents and employees do not open the elevator car door for themselves. Ah, crap. Sorry.
I say and rush forward to slide the door open.
There you go. Sorry about that, Mr. Ansel. I hope you have a good day. Good luck with your first shift,
He says, then leaves without looking back. I slide the door closed and return the car to the lobby level. Just as it arrives, a bell dings and I see the button for the 9th floor light up. But before I press it, I slide the door open to check to see if any residents are waiting in the lobby. None are, so I slide the door closed and press the button for the 9th floor. Then the buttons for the 12th, 6th, 3rd, and 17th floors all light up at once. I press all of those, and the car stops at each floor, which makes me happy until I realize that every one of the residents who step on board want to go down, not up. They don't care about picking up other residents. They just want to get to the lobby so they can start their days.
There's a little more organization to it than I thought.
I say to a man dressed impeccably.
Then get organized.
He snaps as I open the door to the lobby.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
I say, and then lean back into the car and look at the bank of buttons. None are lit up, and I let out a slow breath.
The morning rush can be hard at first.
Miss Grace says from the front desk. without looking up from what she is working on.
You will get used to it.
Then she does look up and fixes me with a harsh gaze.
And you will learn each resident's name. That is the level of service expected, and that is the level of service we provide.
Right. Got it. Thanks.
Then I settle in until the elevator is called. It goes like that all day. Bursts of activity, especially around lunchtime. Then slow periods where nothing is happening, followed by more bursts of activity. By the time my shift is done, I'm moving on autopilot. My body exhausted from standing all day. My arms are nearly jelly from sliding the elevator door back and forth over 100 times.
Your first shift is complete.
Mr. Ansel says after I pick him up on the 5th floor and take him down to the lobby so he can stick his hand in the black box and clock in.
Do I need to clock out?
I ask when he returns to the car.
No.
He says, taking my place by the buttons.
The third arms knows when your shift ends. Great.
He presses the 7th floor button.
Gonna change and then go grab a bite.
I say and yawn.
Then crash out and get some rest. I didn't know I'd be this tired. This job really takes it out of you. Oh, it does.
We reach my floor, and 3 residents step onto the car before I can leave.
Excuse me,
I say and squeeze past.
Thank you.
The car door slides shut before I can say goodbye to Mr. Ansel. Doesn't matter. I'll catch him on the way back down. When I open my apartment door, I smell something off. Aftershave.
Hello?
I call and switch on the hall light.
Is someone in here? Just me.
Payton says from a chair in the corner.
How was your first day? Exhausting, and what the hell are you doing in my apartment? Waiting for you. Why? I'm off shift. If you need me to press some mysterious button, you'll have to wait until tomorrow. I know. I just wanted to double check that you were still willing to do me that favor. But it sounds like you are.
He stands up, rubs his hands together, then moves by me to the front door.
Oh, I realized last night that you forgot your leftovers,
He says as he opens the door.
So I told Joni that you can order whatever, whenever, and just put it on my tab. You didn't need to do that.
He looks past me at the kitchen.
Have you put in any groceries yet? No.
I admit.
Then go get some takeout.
He says, then leaves before I can respond. In the bedroom, I strip out of my uniform, then strip out of my undershirt and boxers before hopping in the shower. The hot water is so relaxing that I almost think about calling it a night and crawling into bed. But my stomach growls, and I know if I don't eat something, then tomorrow will be rough. Dressed in jeans and a t-shirt, I leave my apartment, go to the elevator, and wait.
Ah, to be young again.
A man says as he steps up next to me.
You're the new elevator operator, right?
The man is in his 60s and is dressed in casual but expensive slacks with a polo shirt on. He holds out his hand.
Mr. Howell. Tony.
I say and shake his hand.
Tony Pritchard. Just last names at the third arms.
Mr. Howell says and laughs.
But you're new. You'll learn.
The elevator arrives and Mr. Ansel greets us both. Then he's all business and takes us to the lobby.
Nice meeting you.
Mr. Howell says as he turns to the right and heads toward a different part of the building. I go to the lobby doors but stop as Mr. Sandelin calls out.
Mr. Pritchard, a word, please.
He says. I cross to the front desk and he sets a wrapped bundle on top.
A fine job today, Mr. Pritchard.
He says and pats the bundle.
Fine enough that management wants you to have an extra uniform. When you return to your room, please hang your worn uniform outside your door. Housekeeping will wash and press it for you. Do the same each night, alternating between uniforms, so that you are fresh and clean for each shift.
Oh, thanks.
I say and nod at the package.
Can I pick it up on my way back? No,
he states. Having been through the no routine with Miss Grace, I take the bundle, thank him again, and leave. When I get to the corner market, it's closed. So I decide to take Payton up on his offer and head to the Chinese restaurant.
You forgot your leftovers,
Joni says when I walk in.
I saved them for you. You want them? Or do you want some fresh food since it's on Payton? I'd be an idiot to pass up fresh food. Yeah, you would be,
she says.
So, what do you want?
I place the same order as last night, but skip the Szechuan beef.
Making up for lost leftovers,
Joni says after taking my order.
I'll put this in and be right back.
She nods at a small bar off to the side.
Have a seat, and I'll get you a beer when I return.
I do as instructed and settle onto a bar stool. Spinning around, I take in the restaurant. There are only a few customers, a couple by the front window with their heads close together, whispering to each other. An old hag in the far corner who keeps cackling to herself after each bite. And a party of leprechauns in the opposite corner, sitting silently as they slurp up lo mein noodles.
I thought leprechauns were boisterous.
I say to Joni when she comes back and pours me a beer.
Funeral,
She says.
They lost one of their clan to a harpy attack yesterday. Oh, wow.
I say and sip my beer.
I've never seen a harpy before. You never want to,
She says. Then the front door chime rings and she walks out from behind the bar.
Excuse me.
I drink my beer and turn around, putting my back to the dining room. A long mirror is on the wall, giving me a view of the restaurant. That's when I see her, the little girl. She's standing by the front counter, her eyes locked onto mine. I spin in my stool, but she's not there. So I spin back around and look into the mirror. There she is.
Fuck me,
I whisper.
You have to buy me dinner first.
Joni says as she comes up behind me.
And not here, and not on Payton's tab.
I do a spit take, and beer spews all across the bar.
Nice,
She says. As she wipes down the bar, I glance in the mirror again. The little girl is gone.
You saw her.
Joni says when she's done cleaning my mess.
Most people don't. Payton was right about you. What does that mean? It means he's been waiting for someone like you to run the elevator for about a year now,
She says.
It's all he's talked about for months. Won't shut up about it. I don't understand,
I reply. She sets a fresh beer in front of me.
Thanks. You think you're the first elevator operator he's approached?
She shakes her head.
Okay, well, yeah, you are. But that's because the others just didn't have what you appear to have. Which is mojo. Mojo? Mojo.
There's a shout from the kitchen, and Joni pats the bar.
Be right back with your order.
She returns with a huge bag of food, and I take it, having to stuff my uniform bundle under my arm.
How do you know all about Payton?
I ask, as Joni walks me to the front door.
I'm a waitress,
She says.
It's my job to know my customers.
Then she ushers me out the door, and it's closing behind me. Mr. Sandelin barely acknowledges me as I cross the lobby to the elevator, where Mr. Ansel waits for me. His eyes are dull and half-lidded. He's quiet the entire ride up, but just as I step into the hall, he says,
I was young once.
Then the door slides closed, and I'm left standing there alone in the hallway as I tried to figure out what the hell he was talking about. When I get to my apartment, I hang up my fresh uniform and set my other one out on the hook in the hall by my door. A hook I could have sworn wasn't there when I first moved in. After a heaping bowl of food, I yawn over and over and decide to call it a night. I'm in bed and slipping into a deep sleep in no time. A noise brings me wide awake.
Hello?
I say and reach for my bedside lamp. It won't turn on no matter how many times I twist the switch.
Shit.
I'm about to pull the sheets away and get up when I see something at the end of my bed. A pair of eyes.
What the fuck?
I shout and shove my back up against the headboard.
It's all a lie.
A voice hisses as fingers slide up onto my bedspread.
So many lies.
The voice is like a snake's, but somehow familiar. The fingers become hands, and the eyes reveal a face and a head, and then an entire body is sliding up from the foot of my bed, slinking over the covers and coming right for me.
Get the hell out of my room! All lies,
It says.
We do not live here. We die here. We die for them.
Then a slice of moonlight that is coming in through a slit in my drapes reveals the face fully.
Mr. Ansel?
I say.
What the hell are you doing? Lies!
The old man shrieks, and he moves at a speed that has me screaming and clamoring out of my bed. I race to the bathroom, slam the door, and lock it, throwing my back against it.
They lie! We die! They lie! We die!
He screams from just outside the bathroom door.
Lies! Dies! Lies! Dies!
Then it all goes silent. I wait for several minutes before I call out quietly.
Mr. Ansel? Are you still out there?
No response.
Mr. Ansel?
I wait. Still no response.
Mr. Ansel?
I count to 100, then push away from the door and slowly open it. There's no one in my bedroom. I step out and move quietly to the front room. No one there. Then I run to my front door and check the locks. All are in place, even the bar and chain. How the hell did the man get into my apartment? And why did he leave his post to scream at me about lies and dying? I take a chair from the kitchen table and jam it under the handle of my front door, hoping that will keep Mr. Ansel or any night visitor out. When I crawl into bed, I'm sure I'll never sleep again, but the next thing I know, dim light is filtering in from behind my drapes as my alarm goes off.
Were you in my room last night?
I snap at Mr. Ansel as soon as the elevator door slides open. His eyes meet mine. They are bloodshot, and he has blue veins streaking across his cheeks. His skin is sallow and hangs loose from his jaw. I ease into the elevator and give him some space.
You don't look so good.
He doesn't respond as he slides the door closed and presses the lobby button.
You also didn't answer my question.
I say. I think I hear him whisper something.
What was that?
He shakes his head, and if I wasn't so focused on him, I would have missed it.
Mr. Ansel, were you in my room last night?
The car stops, and he slides the door open.
Your shift starts soon.
He says without looking at me.
Answer the damn question.
I snap at him.
Is there a problem, Mr. Pritchard?
Miss Grace calls from the front desk.
You are about to be late for your shift. We'll talk later.
I say to Mr. Ansel. He only grunts. I go through the clocking in motions, still a little unsure about the black box, then return to the elevator. Mr. Ansel isn't there.
Did he take the stairs?
I ask Miss Grace.
Mr. Ansel's whereabouts are not my concern, Mr. Pritchard.
She replies.
Nor are they yours. Please focus on your job. Right, sure.
I say and take my place inside the elevator. The morning rush comes and goes, and soon I find myself doing absolutely nothing, just waiting at the lobby level. The elevator door is wide open, ready for a resident or anyone to step on. I lean my back against the elevator wall and sigh. I study the ceiling and count the holes in the tiles. I get bored and use the sleeve of my uniform to wipe down the handrails that surround the car. I even start wiping the buttons down, although I have to be soft and careful so I don't accidentally push one. Then I see it.
No way. What was that, Mr. Pritchard?
Miss Grace calls out from the front desk.
Speak up if you want to converse.
It takes a huge effort to tear my eyes away from the bank of buttons.
I was just talking to myself, Miss Grace.
I say.
Please refrain from that activity if you will, Mr. Pritchard.
She says with a huff.
We have standards to maintain here at the Third Arms. Right. Sorry.
I say and return my attention to the bank of buttons. Number 13 has appeared, and not just tacked onto the end, but in its rightful place between 12 and 14, as if it's been there all along. Even all of the other buttons have shifted their positions to accommodate the newcomer. My eyes go from the mystery button to the front desk. Miss Grace is busy doing some sort of paperwork, but even though this is only my second day, I've figured out that she is intensely tuned into my every movement.
Is there something you need, Mr. Pritchard?
She asks without looking up, proving my suspicions.
No, Miss Grace,
I say.
Sorry if I was staring. Just a little slow right now. It will pick up,
she says, and as if on cue, she looks toward the lobby doors.
See?
The lunch rush hits, and I'm soon going up and down, my fingers pressing buttons, my arms sliding the door open and closed, over and over again. After dropping the last resident off at their floor, which is the 18th, I slide the door closed and let out a long, deep breath. Then I glance at the new button. If any of the residents noticed its appearance, they didn't mention it. But most of the people I shuttled to and from their floors were in too much of a hurry to notice me, let alone a sneaky little button like 13. The elevator is descending, and already at the 11th floor when I realize that I need to call Payton. I find the phone hatch and open it, pulling out the handset.
How may I direct your call?
An operator asks.
Room 1015.
Please hold.
The line clicks several times, then there's only a half ring before it's picked up and Payton says,
Is it time?
It showed up this morning.
And you're just calling me now?
He snaps, then sighs.
Sorry, not your problem, I get that. You had a job to do.
Yeah, I did.
I say.
So what now?
Now you come pick me up.
He says and hangs up. I hold the silent phone for a second, then put it back and close the hatch. The bell dings and I slide the door open, checking to see if anyone is waiting at the lobby. No one is there, and Miss Grace doesn't even glance my way. The bell dings again and the 10th floor button lights up. I shut the door and head up.
We don't have much time.
Payton says as he steps onto the elevator the second I open the door on the 10th floor.
So listen carefully, all right? You bet.
I say, and put my finger to button 13.
Do I press it? Yes.
He says, then whips his overcoat to the side and pulls out a sawed-off shotgun. He snaps open the gun and checks that he has 2 shells loaded. Then he snaps it shut and rests the barrel up against his shoulder with one hand while he fishes out a pistol with the other.
Here,
He says, and holds the pistol out to me.
just in case. Just in case of what?
I ask, not taking the pistol.
Just in case something tries to get on the elevator. What the fuck does that mean? Exactly what I said. If something tries to get on the elevator, then you shoot it. Shoot it? Shoot what? I don't know.
He shouts.
Whatever it turns out to be, it could be a troll or a vampire or ghoul. Although it's unlikely it'd be a ghoul, since they don't go for fresh energy. There could be any number of types of fae on the floor. Just be ready, and do not let anything on the elevator. What exactly is this debt you have?
I ask, still not taking the pistol.
Housekeeping.
He says as the bell dings and the elevator stops.
13.
I say and grab the door.
Here we go.
He says and readies his shotgun. I slide the door open. The floor is pitch black. A black so dark, so completely void of any light that it almost seeps into the elevator like thick, foamy ink.
Crap.
Payton says, and fishes out a pair of sunglasses from inside his coat. He puts them on.
Better, but not good. Take this.
He pushes the pistol against my chest.
No, I'm not taking.
A low, menacing growl echoes out from the darkness, followed by several hisses. I take the pistol.
Nothing gets on the elevator.
Payton says, and then steps into the darkness.
I'll be right back.
Before he's completely lost in the dark, he turns and narrows his eyes.
And do not let the door close, you hear? That door closes and I'm trapped. Understood?
I nod.
Say it!
He barks.
Yeah, understood.
I say and shrug.
It doesn't close on its own anyway. I have to close it. No, someone or something has to close it.
He argues.
Do not let anything even get close to...
Payton screams as a thick, black tentacle wraps around his waist and yanks him into the darkness.
Payton!
I shout and bring up the pistol. Then I look at the weapon and frown. I don't know how to shoot a fucking gun. I quickly lower it.
Payton!
There's nothing. No sound, no sign of movement. Then 2 shotgun blasts roar out of the darkness, and for a split second I can see the 13th floor. It's a wide open space with something huge at the center. And that something huge has Payton gripped in several tentacles. And there may have been a wide mouth full of teeth. But it's all just a flash of memory as the whole floor returns to its pitch black state.
Payton! Keep the door open!
He yells back. Then there are 2 more flashes and booms from the shotgun. I see him being flung across the floor before I'm blind again.
Payton?
He doesn't respond, but the floor is no longer silent. I hear little noises, like a constant ticking and tapping. The noises grow louder, and I ease back against the elevator's far wall, my eyes on the thick blackness, my useless pistol at my side. The noises grow and multiply until all I know All I can hear is that ticking and tapping. Then it stops.
Payton?
I call out again. The darkness breaks, and about 1,000 spiders the size of small rats burst into the elevator.
Oh, fuck!
I scream and open fire with the pistol. I hit nothing as the spiders flow away from the bullets. I throw the pistol into the darkness.
Ow!
Payton shouts. I don't apologize. I don't have time as the swarm of spiders comes for me. And that isn't the worst part. No, the worst part is, as they get closer, I realize they all have faces. Little grimacing faces with very, very sharp teeth. I scream. Then I look around for a way out. Then I scream some more. Then I watch as dozens of the spiders climb the frame of the elevator door and squeeze themselves into the gap. In a second, the door starts to slide closed. That gets me moving.
Do not let the door close!
I shout as I lift a foot, then bring it down onto the backs of half a dozen spiders. They burst open under my soul, and every spider in the elevator freezes. All of their tiny little nightmare faces turn and look up at me.
He dies now.
They say in unison and leap as one. I'm covered in nightmare spiders, and nothing but screams erupt from my throat. I thrash about the elevator and slam my body against the walls, squishing spider after spider after spider. The elevator door is halfway closed, so I throw myself that way and wedge my spider-covered body in the frame, stopping the door from closing all the way. More spiders come out of the dark, their mouths open wide as they screech.
He dies now.
The new spiders don't attack me. Instead, they stream up the door and squeeze into the crack. The pressure from the door increases, and I gasp as the breath in my lungs is slowly pressed from my chest. A spider bites my ear, and I slam my head to the side, squashing it dead while also nearly giving myself a concussion. The pressure from the door gets worse, and I struggle to breathe.
Here!
Payton shouts, suddenly by my side. He reaches out and grabs the door, shoving it back open with all his strength. I slip free and fall into the elevator. Then I scramble on my hands and knees and slam my hand on the open button. The door creaks and groans, but slowly begins to slide all the way open. Guts and goo squirt out of the frame as the spiders inside are mushed and mashed into yellow-brown pulp.
Here!
Payton says, and hands me a shotgun with a handful of shells.
What about you? I have the pistol thanks to your throw.
He says, frowning and pointing at the huge bruise in the middle of his forehead. Then the tentacles are back, and Payton is yanked into the darkness once again. I get to my feet and plant my back against the far wall again. But this time, as the spiders come for me, I take aim with the shotgun and squeeze the trigger. The shot obliterates half of them, which is not how I think shotguns are supposed to work. But who am I to argue? I break open the shotgun and yank out the spent shells, replacing them with 2 of the extras Payton gave me. A phone rings. I look at the hatch, then at the bank of buttons. Floors 6, 4, 14, 17, and 9 are all lit up. The phone continues to ring.
Don't answer that!
Payton shouts right before he cries out in pain.
Son of a griffin!
The darkness lights up as Payton fires 5 rounds into the huge, tentacled thing. The spiders start pouring into the elevator again, and several of them head for the bank of buttons.
No!
I shout and open fire. I wipe out the spiders, but I also destroy half the buttons. Most of the ones for the upper floors are completely gone. The phone continues to ring. Payton fires over and over. Spiders keep coming at me. I fire and reload. The phone now sounds like it's muffled by a pillow as my ears ring from the shotgun blasts. Realizing I have only 2 shells left, I try not to panic. All the spiders freeze, turn and look into the darkness, then scatter as fast as they appeared, leaving me all alone once again. I rest my back and head against the far wall and take several deep breaths, which is what probably saves my life. Not the deep breaths, but having my back against the wall. It's how I feel the first thump, then the second, and the third. Footsteps, large footsteps, coming right for me. I lift the shotgun and take aim as something slowly appears out of the darkness.
What the fuck are you?
I mumble as the huge thing fills the elevator door. It's all gray and clumpy. 2 arms, 2 legs, and a head. No eyes, no mouth or nose. No features at all. It looks like a kid's art project that hasn't been painted yet. Just a blob of clay molded into the shape of a man. Then it hits me, not literally. I just figure out what the thing is.
A golem!
I say, then look at my shotgun and sigh.
Fuck!
Pretty sure this won't do much against Clay. The creature takes a step into the elevator, then turns its featureless head and looks at the bank of buttons. It slams a clay hand against the buttons that are left until it gets the desired result. The door begins to slide closed.
No!
I shout and lunge for the button bank. The next thing I know, I'm crumpled in the opposite corner of the elevator, my head swimming and my eyes unfocused. But I'm aware enough to see that the door is still closing.
Use the shotgun!
Payton shouts from somewhere.
The shells are hexed!
That's easier said than done, considering I'm no longer holding the shotgun. I look all over and see it on the floor a few feet away. The golem looms over me, not moving. I start to reach for the shotgun, then yank my arm back just in time before the golem's massive clay foot stomps down on the spot where my hand had been. The phone is still ringing. I scramble to my hands and knees and feint to the left. The golem follows my movement, its leg drawing back for a deadly kick. But I juke to the right and crawl past it, grabbing up the shotgun in both hands. The world spins and I'm lifted into the air, my face slamming up against the elevator ceiling. Then I'm thrown down to the floor and all the wind is knocked out of me. I gasp for breath as the golem reaches down and its clay hands grip around my neck. I put the shotgun to its head and pull the trigger. Clay explodes across my face and the hands around my throat fall away. Then the rest of the golem topples and lands across my body. I grunt as the crushing weight pins me to the floor.
Coming in!
Payton yells, and I see his shoes as he sprints into the elevator.
Ah, shit! Hold on!
He does something, then the golem is rolled off me. Payton pulls me to my feet and points at the door.
Close that and get us down to the lobby now!
He says, then crouches over something on the floor. The phone is still ringing. I slam the door closed, smash my thumb against the lobby button, then yank open the hatch and answer the phone just as Payton screams,
No! Don't!
Mr. Pritchard, this is management.
A million voices say and scream and whisper and yell and call and cry from the phone.
I am afraid you have been terminated. You are no longer employed at the Third Arms, and all rights and privileges have been revoked. Goodbye.
The phone goes dead, and I pull it away and stare at the handset before letting it fall away to clatter to the floor.
I just got fired. Fuck!
Payton says.
I should have warned you about that.
The elevator stops and there is a loud clang, followed by a second, third, and fourth clang.
Not good.
Payton says and stands up. That's when I get a good look at what he was crouching over. It's a small girl. No, wait. It's a small boy. No, hold on. It has wings. Small, translucent wings.
Pixie royalty,
Payton says.
Lost to the juice. The Pixie King called in my debt. Lost to the juice?
I ask.
What does that mean? The 13th floor.
Payton says, looking up at the ceiling.
It's a drug den for non-human creatures. Drug den? What's the drug? You,
he says and shrugs.
And me. Anyone who rides in this elevator is slowly drained of its life force. When the 13th button shows up, that means there isn't enough juice for all the junkies who have slipped in from different cracks in the city. It used to allow the more aware ones to leave quickly. But there are no aware ones anymore, so the button goes unused, never to be touched by human fingers. But I touched it,
I say.
What's going to happen to me? Nothing. It's all mumbo-jumbo bullshit, made up by management to keep the curious at bay.
He says, then nods up at the ceiling.
We'll have to climb. Climb? Yeah, climb.
The clanging starts again, followed by a loud scraping. Then the walls of the elevator defy physics and start to slide inward from all directions.
Climbing is good,
I say. Payton takes the empty shotgun and reaches up to shove a ceiling panel aside.
I'll give you a boost, then hand the pixie up to you, okay?
He says as he drops the shotgun and crouches, lacing his fingers together.
Step in.
I do, and he boosts me up so I can grab the edge of the hole and pull myself on top of the elevator. I gasp as I look around. The entire shaft is lined with skeletons, all human, many still with some flesh on them.
Here!
Payton shouts. I feel the elevator walls shifting under me, and I hurry to reach down so I can take the pixie. It weighs less than air, and I almost overcompensate as I lift it up out of the elevator. Setting it down carefully on top, I reach my arm down in.
Take my hand.
I say to Payton.
Help me!
A voice whispers. I look over at the pixie, but its eyes are closed.
Hey!
Payton yells up at me.
Pay attention!
I look back at him, and he's trying to grab my hand, but I'm waving it all over the place.
Sorry.
I say and steady my arm. He grips my hand, and I pull as hard as I can. I don't think I have the strength, but I manage to get him up just enough that he can reach the opening with his other hand, allowing him to pull himself on top.
Help me!
The voice says again, and I whirl around.
Ignore them.
Payton says as he lifts the pixie up into his arms and throws it over one shoulder.
They're lost. Ignore who?
Then I see them. The skeletons that still have flesh on them aren't exactly skeletons. They are people who are wasting away in the elevator shaft. I see several eyes looking at me. Their whites yellowed and their lids pulled back, stretched so wide that the eyeballs are about to pop out of their skulls.
Residents.
Payton says as he reaches out with one hand and grabs a rung of the ladder that is built into the side of the shaft.
Former employees. The long-timers who have been drained of their energy and stuffed in this shaft until they slowly expire, then rot away into dry husks.
I gag a little.
Get it together.
Payton says.
We have a long climb.
I don't even question what he says and just fall in behind him as he starts to climb up the shaft. Hand over hand over hand I go. Payton's shoes only inches above my face. Down below, I hear the walls of the elevator begin to groan. Then there's a deafening pop, and a geyser of clay shoots up past us. I'm very glad I'm not in that elevator. My arms tire quickly, and I have to stop and rest every few seconds.
Better keep moving.
Payton calls down to me.
You don't want to be in here when they recall the elevator. Why? What happens then?
I ask, my chest heaving from the climb.
They release the hounds.
As soon as the words leave his mouth, the elevator below us creaks, groans, then drops so fast that I don't even see it leave when I glance down. It's just gone.
3 more floors.
Payton says. The sound of hounds from below fills the shaft.
How can they get up here?
I ask Payton as a sweaty palm nearly slips off a rung.
They can climb. Oh.
I put all of my remaining strength into my climbing and focus on Payton's shoes as the sound below gets louder and louder. Then we're at the top, a single, normal door just above us.
Climb past me and open it. Do what?
I ask, but I do as he says after glancing down and seeing the first hound as it climbs its way up to us. It has a lot of teeth. Why does everything in the city have so many damn teeth? I somehow manage to get past Payton and the pixie and onto the very small ledge in front of the door. My hand grips the knob and slips as I try to turn it. Wiping my sweaty palm on my uniform, I try again, and the door cracks open. Sweet, fresh air, or as fresh as the air gets in the city, blows into the shaft.
Take it!
Payton yells up at me. I scramble outside onto the roof, then turn and squat so I can lift the pixie up off Payton's shoulder and lay it on the cool tar paper. Payton hurries up out of the shaft and slams the door closed.
It won't hold them long,
he says, and lifts the pixie back up.
Come on.
He hurries to the edge of the roof and looks down.
This should be fun.
What should be fun? He waves me off, then pulls a bag out of his coat. With his teeth, he tears open the bag and the stink from whatever it is inside hits my nose in seconds.
Oh, fuck!
Payton says and gags a few times.
Damn kobold blood!
Payton steps back from the edge of the roof, takes the bag in both hands and squeezes, spraying the blood out into the air as he waves the bag back and forth. The door to the elevator shaft booms and the slamming echoes out from behind it. I turn and see the hinges begin to strain and push outward.
We have to jump! Jump? Where?
He points out to the open air, and I see it's not as open as it was. The kobold blood has created an opaque platform.
Are you shitting me?
I shout at Payton.
You're welcome to stay here and wait for those assholes to break through that door,
Payton says. Then he looks past me and sighs.
Or those assholes to come crush your skull.
I look over my shoulder and see 4 large shadows lurching across the roof. Just as I'm about to ask what they are, I see wings unfurl. Stone wings.
Grotesques,
I say.
Good on you for remembering their real name,
Payton says.
But they don't really care. They'll still crush your skull. Okay, what do we do?
I ask as I hurry up next to Payton.
Jump like I said,
he replies, then steps up onto the roof's ledge, hangs a foot over the side, and pushes off with his back foot. He almost doesn't make it, but as soon as his toe touches the platform, the kobold blood swirls up around his shoe and pulls him all the way on. I follow, and as I'm about to make my jump, a stone claw grips my shoulder and yanks me back onto the roof.
Where do you think you're going?
A rumbly voice asks me as I'm suddenly nose to nose with the grotesque.
I got fired,
I say.
so I'm just leaving. No.
The grotesque says, shaking its head back and forth so that the tip of its stone nose rubs the skin right off the tip of my nose.
You were terminated, not fired. Does the little human need a thesaurus so its tiny mind can understand what other meanings there are for the word terminated? Oh shit. Hey Rocky!
Payton yells.
You got some lichen on you! What? Where?
The grotesque cries out, dropping me instantly.
Come on, kid!
I scramble up and leap off the roof, my arms outstretched. Just when I think I'm not going to make it and end up a Tony pancake down below, the tip of my left middle finger touches the bloody platform, and I'm pulled all the way onto it.
Grotesques aren't just nosy bitches, but extremely vain.
Payton says, kneeling next to me.
Now hold on. To what?
I ask, as he makes a sigil with his right hand, then presses it against the platform. My stomach lurches as I begin to fall. I almost start to scream, thinking I'm now going to plummet 20 floors to the street below. But the scream is knocked out of me as I only fall about 6 feet and hit cold, hard industrial tile instead. Payton extends a hand and helps me up.
Is this a dry cleaner's?
I ask, looking around at what is obviously the back room of a dry cleaner's, answering my own question.
Who the fuck is back there?
A woman shouts.
Just me, May.
Payton calls.
Dropping off the pixie so you can give it to the king, then leaving.
Good.
The woman yells. Payton sets the pixie down on the tile, then grunts and arches his back.
Gonna be sore tomorrow, that's for fucking sure.
He says, then looks at me and laughs.
Hey, May!
What do you want now, Payton?
Can my friend borrow some of the lost and found clothes? He's not exactly dressed for the street.
I don't care. Just get out.
Thanks.
You're not welcome.
Strip.
Payton says, then disappears into the racks of clothes. When he returns, he has a large sweatshirt in one hand and a pair of bright green slacks in the other.
It's all I could find that looks like your size.
He pauses.
Why are you still in that uniform? Oh,
I say and strip down to my undershirt and boxers. Payton tosses me the clothes and I get dressed quickly, barely getting my shoes tied when Payton says,
let's go.
He leads me to a back door and we hurry out into a dank, piss-stinking alley.
This way.
He says and jogs to the end of the alley where he pauses and looks left, then right, then steps out onto the sidewalk like he has no care in the world. I join him and we just walk for a few blocks before I ask.
Where are we? Close to my office.
He says.
We can lay low there for a day or so. By that time, the Third Arms will have regrouped and forgotten all about us puny humans. But you live there. Not anymore.
He replies and shrugs.
I can stay at my office. Yeah, well, I don't have a job.
I say.
I don't have a home. You never really did either.
He says and shrugs.
That apartment was just a holding cell, while the Third Arm slowly trained you until you looked like that Ansel guy.
He chuckles.
Guess how old he was? I don't know.
I say, annoyed at being asked the question, while I'm worrying about where the hell I'll live.
Come on, guess. 60? 70? 32.
Payton says with a self-satisfied grin on his face.
I would have tried to recruit him, but he was deteriorating too fast. Plus, I overheard him say he hated Chinese food.
What does that have to do with anything?
You think I let you order on my tab just out of the kindness of my heart?
No. You said it was because I forgot my leftovers.
Wrong. It's because Joni knows how to add a little protection in each bite. I got to you before you started your first shift, so the Third Arms hadn't gotten its, well, tentacles in you yet. Add in Joni's special sauce, and you were able to fight off the effects.
He smiles at me.
You're welcome.
Before I can shout at him to go to hell, we reach a building.
This is my office,
he says.
You proved yourself tonight, kid. I know it's part of our deal, but you really deserve this.
Deserve what?
I ask.
What the hell are you talking about?
The first part of our deal.
he says.
I'm offering you a place to crash and a job once things die down a little. A job? A job,
He says, then looks up at the sky as a far-off cry echoes over the city.
We should get inside. The grotesques hold grudges and are probably flying around looking for us after that lichen fake-out.
He unlocks the door and walks inside. I see a long staircase just past him.
You coming? Or do you want to find out what herbs feel like in a mortar and pestle?
He makes a crushing motion with both hands and I get the picture.
A job and a place to stay?
I ask.
For how long? Till we find you a new place of your own.
He says and nods.
But the job you can keep for however long you want. I make a deal, I stick to it.
I look back over my shoulder at the dark street. Then I hear the grotesque's cries getting closer.
Sure,
I say and step over the threshold.
why not?
Thanks for listening. If you enjoy these stories, be sure to subscribe to the podcast and check out some more of my episodes here.